Greetings to all of you, and of course, I welcome you to this broadcast. What an interesting night this promises to be, because we have heard your request. I've heard your request quite clearly, and I'm happy that our sister Carlotta would have heard the same. And she has no issue with us having this conversation and also opening the line tonight for us to speak to this matter regarding Adrianna Younge. We have not forgotten, we shall never forget, and we have no intention of stopping. Justice must be served. And so I welcome you to this broadcast. Please indicate to me whether you hear me clearly and you also see me clearly, so that we can, of course, ensure that we are streaming well, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Tonight is going to be one that's quite different. And that is on the premise, based on the fact that we're going to have an initial conversation between Carlotta and me, and then we shall transition into having what is called an open line. Now, on this open line, I would have to reiterate that we expect it to be most proper, quite sound, and brief, since we know that there are many who may have something to say. But you want to ensure that what you have to say is essentially supported by what is truth or factual, what is true and factual. Additionally, thanks for the feedback. Additionally, please ensure that you are respectful at all times. By now, you know me and you know what I stand for, and I'm very, very stern where that is concerned. You are not permitted to be derogatory in any way towards Adrianna's family, especially her mother and her father. We are not going to have that. Not here, not at any point in time. If you have any information that you deem to be critical, vital, essential to us having answers in this situation, I would that you ensure that you be prepared to share the same in some investigation which must be born or had based on this situation. It would be irresponsible of us to allow Adrianna's memory, Adrianna's situation, Adrianna's what I consider to be murder, to just go and slip by and fall into the category of an unsolved mystery. We have paid careful attention to that which has been done, that which many have sought to do in order to hide what was obvious. And it's our job to fight as much as we can, for as long as we can, to ensure that Adrianna's family receives justice. I will never grow tired. I shall never grow weary in seeking to ensure that this matter is given not just attention, but also critical pieces of the puzzle must be put together. And there should be action taken, very, very necessary action, so that we can have relief and that there can be justice. Greetings to you all. We have the all clear, and we are on a time constraint to ensure that we don't just talk all night, or in reference to you who call and have everything to say. We do not need a historical perspective from some of you. We know what happened for the greater part in reference to what we saw. And we have a former detective in Miss Carol Taylor, who would certainly be able to use her expertise to guide us in this process. There's some very interesting questions that we have to ask, or I have to ask this evening. And more so, I know that she's following this case, and that's how investigative minds work. Once it became open to her, she's now diving deeper and deeper and deeper, asking some very uncomfortable questions. Of course, she'll be able to speak to that herself. So please permit me to welcome her to this platform. She'll be switching in a second. I hope that StreamYard doesn't give us trouble tonight. There you are.
Hello, Nigel. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. And how are you?
I'm doing.
Great,
I'm
you're doing.
doing.
And I'm happy that you are. We are here for a very intense night, I would anticipate, one in which you would be in what they call the hot seat. I'm sure that you're accustomed to that. Where people have got questions to ask of you, and I am going to be the one who facilitates these discussions. Or I should issue a very clear disclaimer here before we open our lines later on, and that would be that we do not control, or I cannot control, what any caller would say. What I would have to do first is to listen to what the person is saying, and then, based on what I'm hearing, I can monitor or take necessary actions. And I'm saying that, Carlotta, because here in Guyana, we have got some of the most, as you could tell by now, under this administration. I call them the cover-up clan. They have got some of the most insane. They're not laws, but interpretations of what they claim to be law. And one such could be that somebody can call my phone, can call dial this line, and tonight when it's open, and they can say, well, hey, let's kill the president. They say that. Somebody can call and say that. Now, I simply answer the call to hear what they have to
Right.
say. Should I say no? You shouldn't do that. Would you believe that the police can come to my house, arrest me, charge me for inciting violence against the president? That is how idiotic these people. Sorry, I'm not normally a bad person, but it provokes me to know the extent to which these people have gone. And you saw it, and you're seeing it in reference to Adrianna's situation.
Right.
So I have to issue that. So in case they try anything, I'm saying to them, I cannot control what people say when they call in tonight. We can control our responses. We can control whether we're going to entertain them to say certain things, but we cannot control initially what they're going to say since we do not know what they would say.
Exactly.
Now, that being out of the way, welcome again. You've been working. I know that you've been working. And those who are here, please, if you don't mind, share the broadcast, spread it as widely as possible, because the more ears that hear and the more eyes that see, the greater should be the cry for justice for Adriana. That's what this is about. Okay. So you've been doing some work. You've been working. I know from last time I met you. I said, I just know an investigative mind when I see one. So tell us some of the things you've been doing in reference to this matter here, and how deeply you've been diving um, in reference to the situation.
Well, I've been combing through each factor of the case. As I stated earlier, from the beginning, from the idea of going to the double day, to who was involved, to making that happen, to what happened, what was happening at the time that Adriana was in the pool with her family on the side of the pool, and the interactions and maybe some neglect at the time that she went missing. um, just all of the things that follow after that. Um, who could have lured her into any area, possibly to gain her attention? Did she go to the washroom? Something happened, and within a few short moments, she was gone. She vanished. And I dove deeper into the scene of her being placed back into the pool, and it was very astonishing. After you look at those images, it's very chilling, to say the least. And once again, my heart goes out to Guyana and the family and to everyone who knows about this case, because it affects you as if it's your own child, right? And when I just looked at that baby's body, and I just, just focus on what am I looking at,
Yeah.
and what is consistent with drowning. It was it was life changing. I almost couldn't go any further, because I absolutely knew at that moment that this was not a case of drowning.
Right. And permit me to just show something here. I think we have a close up of it. I hope I do. I hope I kept one. There you go. So that right there, that right there, because when you speak to what is consistent with drowning, um, tell us about this image. She should
Okay,
be gasping for air if she's drowning.
absolutely. So here, this is when Adriana is speaking without having to make a sound. Even with a
Oh,
lifeless body before us, she is still communicating. Her mouth is closed. All right. What does that mean? She is deceased and her mouth is closed shut. Within hours of death, your mouth is going to be in the position in which it was, however, you passed away. So, to be consistent with drowning, you have to gasp for air. You have to inhale. That's how you drown. And with her nose being stuffed, it just blew me away. It just blows me away. How can the police look at this child or anyone look at this child and say it was a drowning? So there were so many things, as I said in the first interview, there were so many things and so many people that had to work together to conspire as a conspiracy to to take this baby's life and to plot it as if it were a drowning. It's
so
devastating.
we already going somewhere with this, Carlotta. As a former homicide detective, investigator, we look at this image here, and you're saying that, and it makes sense. The average person would, if someone is in a position where because the report we're having and the feedback that we're having from the administration, which we call the government and others, the police, they're saying, even they said the three pathologists says she drowned naturally. Nothing happened. She just drowned, implying that she was swimming. That's the implication. She was swimming. She encountered some difficulty of some sort in a pool where people were all over the place, and she just silently decided, although she could swim, to allow herself to drown. Worse is that she allowed herself to drown in this standing position, right by the ladder, because the morning when they saw her in the pool, the jets were on, and that pushed her a little away from the pool before the father jumped in. So she was all the way to the corner, and this little girl just decided, as far as my reasoning goes, that she's going to drown. Because when they did the autopsy, they never said that they saw that she had a cardiac arrest, which could account for her not being able to do anything, that she had some aneurysm of some sort. They said all of the other organs were intact. So, based on that reasoning, if she's drowning accidentally, as they want to term it, why would her mouth be closed? Because you've just said something that's so profound, and I hope that we can dwell on that again for those who missed it. If you're drowning, you should be trying your best to breathe. Her
Yes.
mouth is closed because in the phases of drowning, when I looked at it, there's a phase where you would be having convulsions, and that's the latter phase of before you die. And in that convulsion, you're trying your best to get even more air in the system. Your body's trying to do that. How could this young Adriana drown with her mouth shut? What does that
That's
tell
what
us, Carlotta?
that tells us that it's a mic drop. It's not a drowning. There's no way around it. And anyone who is trying to continue to push that narrative, it just really, I'm speechless. Like, what do they want you to believe? This is a case where the truth is being punished as a crime and lives are walking away free. And we just
Oh,
can't have that
wow.
anymore.
I mean, sorry, you're saying so much and so quickly. Uh, it is so potent, I don't want them to miss it. The truth is being punished as a lie.
The truth
Wow.
is being punished as if it's a crime. It's a crime to tell the truth. It's a crime to state exactly what happened. And all of the lies, the conspiracy, the plots, that's being paraded and uplifted as if it were the truth. And this is trickery, it's evil, and it's truly sad. But we can no longer accept this narrative, this false narrative that she died of a drowning. She was
And
placed back in that pool.
it bothers us here in Guyana because when we examine what is being said to us and what we're being asked to accept, it's difficult. And that is why I am so grateful that I had the opportunity through Candace to have a connection with you. And it is not by accident because you are so vested in this process and so deeply invested in reference to your time and most importantly, your expertise. So again, with 12 years of experience You're not coming to us trying to figure out what to do. And of course, you live in a much more populous mm, city and town than even our entire country. So you have a wealth of experience in these situations. So you said something that we should go to the beginning. Now, that is extremely important. It is so rich, it is so filled with intrigue. Because as a detective, you're saying, do not even start at the pool. Why would you say that?
I would say because you have to know the totality of circumstances surrounding the entire event. You have to know all parties involved. And unfortunately, no family member, nobody wants to know or admit that somebody from inside the camp could have had a hand in the dealings of Adrianna passing away the way she did. So, from the idea of going swimming at the Doubleday, like going swimming is a great idea for children. Absolutely have fun. But why there? Why at the Doubleday with the history, knowing the history of that hotel, knowing the whispers of the past events that happened there? So,
Mm,
who came to that conclusion? But not only who came to that conclusion, who helped carry it out? Who helped that thought manifest into reality? Who helped them arrive there? Now we have, as what I've been seeing, I don't know every person that was at the Doubleday. I don't know every family member that knew about
right.
it, but those are questions that we want answers to. We want to know who all was there. There's been some very suspicious statements and admittances just by talking and talking freely. Like I told you before, Nigel, the truth is going to find a way to come out. The truth is fighting to be free. Only the human that is lying and being deceptive is trying to keep it closed. So they're talking and then boom, there go the truth. And then they don't know what to do. But the truth is
Mm.
going to find a way to get out.
So, okay. And going down that path, as a detective, let's say you're here in Guyana, you were asked to, or you were working here, and you had the liberty to truly pursue an investigation or conduct one. Because we know there are many officers here who can, but they're not allowed to. And that's my view. They're not allowed to do it.
Mm.
Because I'm not hearing people saying what you're saying, that listen, we go to the beginning of this, which could include, and tell me if you can do that, telephone records. We could say, well, who did you call? At this time, who were you
Okay,
communicating with, even yesterday or day before yesterday?
listen. There may have been some mention of family members being at the hotel days before. So I would start about, I would go back literally. I would really say, this is a case you want to sink your teeth in. All right. I would go back as anywhere as far as 3 months or greater, starting with collecting phone numbers. And it will start out as a seed, but it will branch out like a tree with mega branches. I would
Three
take
months.
sale. Oh, I would go back. I would go back because I
Wow.
used to be a background detective too. And the farther you go back, the more information you have. So, who all was there, any family members that were there, you would get the cell phone numbers. There should be cell phone towers. They have to ping off of somewhere. There's information, there's documentation. You get subpoenas, you get the phone records, you start connecting the dots. Who's talking to who's texting who, right? There were several cell phones being used during the course of that day. And we have that on video. We have timestamps, so that's a perfect place to start. Then we also want to keep in mind burner phones. We also want to keep in mind local stores where burner phones could have been purchased and further witnesses that expand outside farther than the double day. So we want
For the
to
sake
get
of
all
those,
of that
sorry, for the
together.
sake of those here, forgive me. Guyanese do not know necessarily what a burner phone is in many cases. Those who, they're not all too savvy with the terminology. Um, Help us with that because I know what it is, but just for the sake of those viewing from an
Absolutely. Absolutely.
investigative
So
perspective.
a burner phone is a temporary phone. So in other words, I might have my cell phone, right?
Right.
But if I'm gonna do something that I don't want connected or tied to my personal cell phone that I use every day, that people can easily have access and they know my number and they could actually get information, I'm gonna go buy a prepaid phone. I'm gonna go buy a Walmart throwaway phone, a Go phone, a phone I could just load some minutes up and use it for deviousness, and then I can just throw it away. Some people like to tear and rip out the SIM and do all kind of things to it. But once you know You get the cell towers. Go to the cell phone company and subpoena the company and get all the numbers that we use. You see, there's so many levels that you can go with this. So they can't run for long when the
Right.
right thing is being done.
Wow. Carlotta, I can imagine, although I'm not good at it, but being on the wrong side of the law, and you had to investigate the case. This is so thorough. I mean, to hear you say you're willing to go back months to see what kind of conversations were you having, where were you going, who were you interacting with, and then we get to the day whereby somebody says, "Let's go swimming at Doubleday." So you can track interactions, and probably because I'm trying to get to in your head here, as I normally would. Then you say, oh, well, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, last week, you had communication with this person, and now you're at the pool. And
Absolutely.
then you disappear, and
Absolutely.
Adrianna disappeared. So why did you move? So you know this person. That's where this is going.
Yes,
Reference your investigative capabilities.
absolutely.
Makes sense.
And then
Wow.
not only that, Nigel, I will also check financial records and bank statements because if money, any type of money is involved, we can also know that. But you would get off into that once you start identifying who your primary suspects are. And I said suspects because there's multiple in this case.
You did say to a community to do something of this nature, and to have, I mean, 2 months would have passed, and they're still surviving in reference to their because I do not see it as being successful. They're surviving, awaiting the explosion of this matter. It will come out. It cannot ever hide. With
Right.
minds like you're speaking so freely on this platform and being committed to this. And I'm sure that there may be others who view it and say, well, oh, well, we're seeing this, and they may know you. They may have been your colleagues or something, and they're saying, hey, Carlotta, I'm seeing that you on something here. And so tell me about this. And then minds begin to click. And I do not ever have the will to lose hope that there will be a massive explosion of information, and many will have to give account as to what happened. So tell me something else before we open the lines a little later on. Would you recommend, if it were lawful to do so, polygraph tests, lie detector tests for people who say, well, I'm innocent, I did nothing? Would you say, well, let's go down that road? If you said nothing, how effective is that?
Well, I would not see polygraphs are not 100% reliable in court testimony. So I
Right,
would not
right.
really lean on that too heavily because believe it or not, some people are
Can pass.
skillful in beating a polygraph.
Yeah.
And there are things you can do to beat the polygraph. So no, I would not rely on that. That's good TV talk, okay? But
Oh,
when it
understood.
comes to court, in a court of law, in a case such as this, I'm pretty sure that you can get enough evidence. And there's so many things, the timelines, the alibis, everything checking out. I believe it's there. We just have to find it.
Yeah. And so going back to Adriana and what you said about one, we have an image here of her mouth being closed. And this image is just speaking, as you rightly said. When I observed it, it spoke to me, it continues to speak to me, because I'm observing something and I'm saying, well, maybe if she's in a room or I'm in a room, in an environment whereby there's something that's noxious, there's something that is very intense in reference to my breathing, I'd want to close every possible airway and not try to breathe. Does that make sense? If you have me in a
Exactly.
room full of chlorine, I wouldn't want to open my mouth because it would burn my throat. So I try my best not to breathe
Right.
instead of trying to gasp at air. Or
Which
if someone closes my mouth and prevent me from screaming, then obviously. And the cotton wool, as the relative said that there was cotton wool in her nose. Her father said that. The onlookers at the poolside said there is cotton wool in this girl's nose. I find it tough to understand why adults would say that that's cotton because they know it. We use it a lot here for many things in our country. As an investigator, if someone is saying to you that there has been that cotton was in her nose, you would be hard pressed to say that she drowned because why would you swim with cotton in your nose?
right, and on scene, walking on the scene, it's already telling this is not a drowning. This is the stage drowning. So we will already know that there was foul play. Therefore, it would be a homicide.
Okay. And then when we have, apart from mouth being closed, in 20 hours, as they claim should have been, she's floating here. And when we check her stomach, just to recap, it's flat. She's not bloated. There's no decomposition. So the gases that should be trapped in her system to make her bloat and then rise or float isn't there. They aren't there. So why would she be floating in a pool if they claim she drowned and her stomach is flat? There's no rotting, no decomposition. You are watching the scene. You're saying, well, these things are all suspicious. And I asked before, but just to reiterate, would you then, if possible, reach out to some medical professional and say, hey, there's something strange about this situation here? Can you give us some ideas to what will happen in this case?
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, any trained coroner, any trained medical examiner, these are things that you would notice right off. What I would say, and this is slang, right off the rip, right off the
Right
rip,
off the
you
rip.
would notice on site, on scene. It wouldn't even take a day. On scene, you would notice this is staged, this is foul play, something happened to this child.
Now, there is a video that I'm looking for. It has been in circulation. If anybody has it, please send it to me. And that is where there were some individuals around the pool. They were fighting for liquor. They were trying their best to get to this liquor. And there were squabbles and fight by the poolside. And there was a guy dressed in khaki. He seemed to be a police of high rank. Right there. Right where in this area here, just across where she was. So as an investigator, if they're suggesting that Adrianna was always in the pool, but then you come together with a team to investigate this situation, and you see this video of an inspector and other policemen. By the way, there's another young man were fighting to get some liquor from a trolley right by the area. Would you accept someone saying to you that she was always there, and all of these people, including a police of high rank, they all missed it? 20, 30 eyes couldn't see that child right there.
There's no way that people could be standing right beside the pool and miss a body floating or a body in the pool at all.
Standing.
Because another thing that stands out to me when I look at that photo that you've shown a few times now, part of her, a little bit of her body is protruding out, but you can still see her body that's on the inside. Meaning, even if her whole entire body was on the inside, you would have still seen her.
Wow. Yeah, because this came from a camera that, of course, isn't high resolution, because if the camera isn't clean, you wouldn't see images clearly. But you can see, as I encircled her feet, you can see her feet. And for her to drown and raise in that position, she had to have been underwater in that position. There's no current, there's no rip tight to circle and bring her up to the top, nothing. So she drowned in that standing position, and then she would have risen in that exact position. Policemen were standing right there, high-ranking officials, and all of them missed this girl being there. These questions or these actions do not generate necessarily questions to me. What they generate is concern, which is that why would people go to this extent to do that? Why? I don't know if you're aware, and this is where I bring to you now another scene, another situation where in a Zoom call, someone purported to be the owner of the hotel was on the call, and he was speaking about this situation here. I was marveled the fact that he said this person, and nobody came forward to say it wasn't him, that it was habitual for the bartender to go to the pool and sprinkle chlorine powder every night before they close the pool at 8 o'clock. Why did he say that? He said that accounts for what happens on her skin. And how does that even make sense? You help me. So he's saying that the markings on Adrianna's skin, he knows it has been bleached. And he's saying that this bleaching came because she was in the water all night and the bartender went and threw chlorine powder in the pool, and that bleached her skin selectively.
Well,
As an
that's
investigator, please help us.
well, that's a bizarre lie. Okay, and I guess the more bizarre it is, the more believable it shall be. in their eyes, but we're not going for that, Nigel. We're just simply not going for it. Think about what he said. Now, let's pay close attention. Let's zoom in on the statement sprinkle chlorine powder. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
All
that's what he
right.
said.
All right, let's take them at face value. Sprinkle chlorine powder. What is a sprinkle? What kind of pattern does a sprinkle leave? Okay, now think about a pattern of sprinkle on the floor in chlorine. Now think about placing something, let's say a sheet or a cloth or did my jacket. If I place it on the floor with the sprinkle chlorine powder and I lift my jacket, it's going to be sprinkled patterns. It's going to be consistent with what? A sprinkle. Are the bleach marks or the light spots on Adriana's body consistent with sprinkles? No.
No.
Next.
So he's saying that it was sprinkled in the water. And because he sprinkled it in the water, it just selected Adriana's body, just went all the way down to find her in this pool and bleach her arms and her face, or one part of her arm, missed every other part of her body because the guy just sprinkled the chlorine. And when I heard this, I was expecting someone to say, well, that was not the owner, it was a joke. But it said to be this person. He also said that he was not there when the alarm was raised that Adriana was missing. Now, Adriana's father, Sir Brian, was in a broadcast, alive, saying that he saw that young man on multiple occasions. I think there's 7, 8, 9 times, passing him all the time. So here we have conflicting reports. And I said tonight I'll present that to you. When you're having conflicting reports as an investigator, what are the red flags that are being raised in this situation?
That is a red flag. That is looking like prime suspect activity. He should definitely be at the top of the list with the suspects that are involved in Adriana's passing away. Absolutely. No questions to be asked. When there is conflict, when a person's alibi is not checking out, when they're telling multiple lies, when they are panicking and trying to come up with new truths. Remember, I said it in the first interview. The truth needs no help.
No help.
Why are we trying to help the truth? I don't understand. But anytime a person is trying to add to the truth and help it out, it don't need nothing else but the truth. And therefore, he he's a prime suspect in my
People,
eyes. I would list him as a prime suspect.
thank viewers, please help us to disseminate, to spread this broadcast as widely as possible. As I've said, this is about intensifying or amplifying the sound for justice, the call for it. Because what I'm hearing from Carlotta is a consistent thought process and a very sensible, wise, and professional thought process, which points to, first of all, we're not saying, okay, we eliminate everyone. She's saying, go to the beginning, and maybe before the beginning, dive as deeply as you can. Because in this, I'm hearing from you, Carlotta, that there's a quest in your mind as an investigator to know what happened and to find out the details. That's what I'm hearing from you. We have to know what happened. Not just assume something and say, yeah, whatever it is, let's move on. Never being nonchalant. You're so intense about this that it's very impressive to me. Um, should that not be the mind of everyone who's touching this case, handling this situation?
Yes.
Let's get as deeply as we can into this. That should be the
Absolutely.
mentality.
We want to know the beginning, the middle, and the end. A lot of people and a lot of times that when I see this case being presented, it's kind of going in one area, or she was at the pool all night and they just want to focus on this one part. But we can't just focus on one part. This case has too many parts and too many elements. We want to know, we want to understand the details, but we also want to understand why. We also want to understand the motive behind it. And we also want to be able to link this in if there were any past events like this. So there might be history of this. So we want to conclude everything that we can. We don't want to leave anything unturned, because in that nest, that pool of everything involved, is where we're going to find out who's actually guilty of this crime.
And you know what? Since we last spoke, a young man by the name of Francis Michael Bailey, he was, when we got off the broadcast last week, he was on doing a broadcast. And I said, I have to raise this with you this week. That broadcast he was doing, he was speaking to a case that occurred in 2012, I think it would have been, where a young man they claim that he went swimming in the pool and he drowned. So Francis was showing us that there's some similarities here in reference to how the matter was solved. Same thing they said, check the pool. The same thing, search the pool. Now look at this.
Mm.
What blew me away, Carlotta, is when Francis said that the young man was found in this position. So what are the chances that, and the owner of the hotel was, as I told you before, he was incarcerated pending trial and so on. And when the administration changed, he was, of course, freed. Now, what are the chances that in 2012, somebody who died under very suspicious circumstances, to the extent whereby the owner was charged with murder? Now, in 2025, we have Adrianna surfacing in the exact, just about posture. As a detective, when you go now way back, 13 years back, to say, huh? Is that what you've been saying? Hold on.
Absolutely.
Go ahead for me.
Absolutely. I would definitely look at all of the similarities. I would definitely look at all of those key points with any type of things in his nose, any type of with the way that he was postured, placed back into the pool. And I would go deeper than that because somewhere in the community, somebody knows something. So even getting those old witnesses, even though it was 13 years ago, sometimes people have a change of heart, right? Sometimes people
Okay.
have a change of heart, and even the guilty people sometimes have a change of heart. They are fighting and struggling with themselves, no matter how hard they try to play in front of people. It's a hard thing to try to keep and hold on to doing something like that to somebody. So I would never give up, and I will always be looking to link those crimes because, believe it or not, as you said, Nigel, Adriana's case probably goes back to 13 years ago when it was happening long before to somebody else.
Yeah, and it's interesting. What is even more interesting to me, I hope I have some footage here for you. I should have a photograph because I'm using another device just so that my other one can be open so they can call. But I was do I have it with her swimming? This is it here. Okay. So we have this image of Adrian. I'm just gonna solo my screen and you the background. The encircled child is Adriana.
Mm.
Okay. Now she's in the shallow part of the pool. Let me come back on screen. Carlotta, the person who's purported to be the owner of the hotel, he hasn't denied it is him since days ago in this Zoom call, said that there was a swimming instructor. So he admits to one piece of the puzzle here. There was someone teaching people to swim. He said that when the alarm was raised, Adriana was missing, and the suggestion was made to search the pool, that they searched in this shallow section. Now I'm laughing because when people, believe me, a lot of when people do these things, I'm not an investigator. I get livid, I lose it, I become a different animal. I don't like people making me a fool. And I'm happy that this person is saying these things in my absence because I'm not trained to control myself like you are. Imagine this person's telling me that in that part of the pool, in that part of the pool, there needs to be a swimming instructor who goes in to search for Adriana because you can't see her in this very shallow side. This individual had the nerve to say that and to sound as if it makes sense to him. And I'm saying that to hopefully have you reiterate. Why would somebody be making these insane, I call them insane, ludicrous, absolutely stupid suggestions? Is it an alibi? What is it? What crosses your mind when you hear these things?
I just think it's a moment of desperation. I, they don't know what to come up with. You know, they've already done the thing, and there's no undoing it. And now they're trying to get out of it any way they can. And
That's how you
it's
feel.
so bizarre. And we cannot, people with common sense, we cannot understand that. And I really don't have any words for it because it's very bizarre. It's just,
And just let me show a video footage of the shallow side where he said that during the day You had to have people search the pool to find Adrianna.
Management. I said, we're going now with the cameras. There's a female washroom here. There's a bar here. The management explained to me that when you come and if you're going to use the pool, and as you see the pool here clear. Like when the family said they went in the pool and check, everybody went in the pool and check. Normally, you ain't got to check if there's a body in this pool. You could see it because the pool is clear.
So he showed us the shallow section. The shallow section. Now, why would I have a swimming instructor enter 4 feet of water, maybe less, 3 feet of water, to search for a human being that's 5 feet 5 inches tall in the day, and that's at night?
There's no need for that. But see, what happens is when you're desperate and when you're looking for anything that you can just grab a hold to and try to make it a fact, you're going to say the most craziest things that doesn't make sense. So that goes along with the territory of a liar.
Wow.
Plain and simple.
Let me. All right, I have the video here. I'll use my tablet to show you. You need to see this. Let me pull it up for you. I'll reverse my camera so you can see it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'll replay. So that's the video, 20 seconds long, but you see that this is before they say Adrianna would have surfaced in the pool. You saw the people on the deck, you saw them there. Did you see that? Or tell me what you saw there. Because I'm trying to locate Adrianna in this clear water.
Yes, I saw the pool. I saw many people around. A lot of people was facing away from the pool, but then there were some people facing the opposite way. There was a security guard with security on his back. I'm not sure if he was an actual security guard or not, but he had security on his back, and he had visuals on the pool walking in that direction. So I saw a lot of things, and there were many people there. So there's no way that she surfaced out of the blue. She was delivered to the pool, but she did not surface from the pool.
Amazing to know that they could miss this. While they're fighting for liquor, they couldn't see her. Like, seriously? And the guy in the khaki, he, as I said, is a senior ranking police official. So he's not just a lower rank. He's not a corporal or sergeant. He may be an inspector, superintendent, senior superintendent, one of those. Right there. Trying to tell the guys, you shouldn't do that and so on. Trying to quell them. And after this is where they said that a team from the riot squad, they came there, they were on the street, and Adrianna's father and grandmother had been asked, or that's what they said, to go and quell the crowd. And when they removed, a truck of some sort, a box truck, was driven to block the view to some extent, and then an alarm was raised that she's in the pool. I'm troubled. Every time I see this, I'm deeply troubled. I am. And my heart bleeds for what is happening to this child. So with that said, are you ready for us to open the line and to have a few calls come in?
Yeah,
So before we do that, Um, as an investigator, and this is not to cause any issue. I just want to ask you questions so people can get it clear. If you're investigating a case of a child homicide of this nature, would you eliminate before you investigate anyone in terms of suspicion or anything? Would you say, well, no, nobody is a suspect, and we just start to select who we want to ask questions to?
No, I would be suspicious of every single one. And I believe I said that in the first video. And it goes with the territory. Therefore, like for instance, let me just change the path for just a second so I can break it down. So let's just say, God forbid, there's it happens all the time, but let's say there's a husband and a wife, right? And then let's say the husband is not gone. Something happened to him. His life is gone off the rip, just because the first suspect is going to be the closest person to them. And it's
Okay.
not that she's guilty, it's just because we have to clear those facts. Now when it comes to Adrianna's case, everyone everyone has to be looked into. We need to verify everybody's posture in this case.
Oh,
Everyone should be verified and checked, and it should be a question mark until we can fill in what actually happened. So don't feel bad if you are a family member and if you are a friend and you would be a person of interest. Absolutely, you would be. But you should be good with that because you should want to be cleared. Check me, like I said,
ah,
check me out. Please listen. I want you to hurry up and get through me so you can get to the real person. But if you are blocking and if you are resisting and if you are having anything negative to say about telling where you were, being open with your reports and your telephone records and anything, then that's going to raise a red flag.
let's say you're asking someone, give me the phone. Let me check your phone to see who you're speaking to. And the person, no, I don't want to do that. Right away, you say, oh, why don't you want to do that? That kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So
Wow.
I'm going to have a conversation, and by the time that conversation is over with, I'm going to find a way to get a subpoena for your records.
And when you speak to subpoena, it will be the court given an order for you to provide that
Absolutely.
said
From
record.
the telephone company. You might not always
Ah,
get it from the person's phone because people can what? Delete. People can do a lot of things with what? AI. We want official telephone records from the telephone company itself.
and we're in an age where people love to do, for some reason, videos like TikToks, broadcasts, and Facebook broadcasts. Would you be looking at social media content as well, examining them and whether they were deleted and or stuff like that?
Absolutely. Nothing goes untouched. Nothing goes unseen. Just to know what's going on. I would be open to look at everything and just kind of sort as needed as you go through.
Okay. So we have brothers and sisters. Tonight is an open line night. As I said, you'll call, you'll be very respectful. If you're using the WhatsApp communication or line, it's +1 973 641 1259. So it should be +1 right there. I'm having challenges editing that. So let's work with it. You're going to call, I'll put you in speaker. Please be as brief as possible. And if your Guyanese, speak a little slowly. I mean, Carlotta seems to understand me pretty well. My children said, I do not speak as if I'm from Guyana. I don't know why they do that to me. But we want to open our line for you to call. I will put you in speakers, as I said, so Carlotta can hear you, and we can have a healthy discussion. You may have a question or two to ask of her. Let us see how she can answer. Okay. As I said, we're not open to just reckless opinions. We just want to hear what you have to say, and if you have questions to ask of her. So the line is open. 6003792. That's my local number. And WhatsApp would be +1 973 641 1259. All right. So we're gonna accept a few calls as we speak and as we go through it. We have got also, Carlotta, a case in which oh boy, it's ringing already. Greetings to you, Karen. Welcome.
Yes, good evening, Miss Carlotta and Miss Apostle London. The first instant when this case was going on, the hotel workers, all of them should have been in custody. Also, the owner and his son and those police officers, because they were there blocking the people from going in. So all of them knows what was going on. The police officer was in contact with the hotel owner. So they're very close, and all of them should have been locked up in custody pending investigation, because I never see it like it. It's crazy. The hotel workers, they went home, and the owner, they sent him home after, and this child she wasn't, nobody don't know where this child was. So all of them involved. The hotel workers, the hotel workers, if you hold one of them, all of them will talk. I'm telling you.
Well,
if you only hold one of them a question, everybody will talk, because nobody don't want to get locked up. So they need to get those hotel workers, because they were there at the time when this child was missing. They need to get all of those workers and take them into custody.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Let me hear that. You want to respond to that first? Keep calling. Yes. So someone is speaking to the hotel owner, but the son who was there, he said he wasn't there. Now Brian said he was. What do you say that these things were, the call is suggesting that everyone should have been questioned?
Yes, everyone at the hotel, everyone on the staff is definitely on the list for questioning without any shadow of a doubt, including the owner, including any of the owner's family members or associates who are also there as well. So that is a given. That would be at the top of the list. And unfortunately, there was not enough support. There were not officers there on the right side of the law to do the right thing at the time. But looking back, yes, we would definitely have to talk to all of those individuals. They are definitely prime key people to have a conversation with and to interview. Absolutely.
And another thing, Carlotta, is this owner who's like said it, the person said he's the owner of the hotel who was in this conference, this Zoom call. He said that the bartender would usually go to the pool and pour chlorine in it. So I would like to think that the first person police should have held now to say, oh, so you put chlorine in there, you have to be close enough to throw chlorine or sprinkle chlorine in the water. How could you not see a child standing there? Is that something that should have been done, that you suggest would be done too?
Absolutely. So if we want to play their game, like this is for grins, okay? If we want to play their game for grins, then now, you must want charges on you for knowing and seeing a deceased body in a pool and not doing anything. So you failed to report a crime, or you failed to report that there was a body in the pool. So which one you want to go with? You know what I'm saying? So if we want to go along with that story, with that headline, then there should be charges on that.
So a call is coming in. Let's hear from Terry. Greetings.
Good night.
Good night. You're on.
Yeah, good night. I believe the grandmother and Stefan are the suspect for the little girl. Yeah, good night.
Now you have to turn. You need to turn just turn the phone device on, because you can't be speaking to me and listening at the same time, right? It's going to cause a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The policeman with the wet foot on the pool when they find the girl, all them supposed to be locked up.
So that's your view. You believe that you see the police and the grandmother?
Yeah, I believe the grandmother and Stefan, because the grandmother stopped the 14-year-old to talk to Stefan, the last person seen.
Okay. Are you aware of whether the police have this information?
Yeah, because they said the grandmother stopped the 14-year-old to talk. She take a liar. She don't want the 14-year-old to talk.
Okay, so let's hear what Carlotta would say to that, the investigator. Thank you for your call. Let's hear her view on that point. If that's the case, if that were the case, Carlotta, let's say somebody said, well, the 14-year-old shouldn't be speaking.
Okay, can you please repeat what he said? Because I did not understand him, Nigel.
Okay, I understand. He said that he believes that the grandmother should be in somewhat, to some extent, deemed responsible in some way, and somebody named Stefan, I think, maybe a cousin or somebody, because he's saying that Stefan was last seen with Adrianna. We don't know how to corroborate that, but that's what the call is saying. And he's also saying that he's of the view that there was a cop there with his pants bed. That's debatable because it was a pants style. So I don't know. I wasn't there, so somebody should have been there to say that. But he's looking to say that the grandmother and Stefan should have been deemed suspect because a 14-year-old girl who's in the care of the grandmother, he's saying she's prohibited from speaking to anybody. That a lawyer was retained, an attorney was retained, and the grandmother is stopping any communication. I don't know, as I say again, we don't know the fact that that's concerned. I'm just saying what the caller said. If that were the case, what would that, how would that inform your investigation?
Well, the grandmother, and this is not just to come down on grandmothers, okay? You got to understand, cases like this, you have to do what has to be done. And that's it, okay? So the grandmother would definitely still have to be questioned for the negligence, okay? Just outright. And anyone who was supposed to have guardianship over Adrianna at that time. And if it falls on the grandmother, then definitely, she would definitely need to come in for questioning. And everything we have to check out. We would have to get to the beginning of the story. Who enticed you? Where did the idea come from for you to take, if it was her, I don't know who it was, to take
Right.
Adrianna to the Doubleday Hotel? How did that conspire? Tell me about the conversation. And she would definitely have to be a part of that and definitely have to answer for it. Because as a mother, mothers, we have a way with our children, right? And we're talking 11-year-old, 14-year-old, and I'm not sure
Right.
how old the other child was, if there was another child. But when children are in the pool, we don't have a tendency to turn our backs to the pool and not actually be in a way that we can see what's going on fully. So that was a little alarming in that shot, but it's just a still shot. So I don't know if that was a quick turn or if that was a stabilized position, right? So
Yeah,
there's
because
so
it was
many.
right. It was just a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a shot. So I can't make that determination, but it's not a good look. So it would
Yeah.
still have to be answers for that. And yes, we
And
would
I'm,
have to go and take it all the way back with the grandmother as well.
yeah, the calls are coming in like a lot. And I just want us to be clear here. It's not that Carlotta and I are saying that the grandmother is culpable anyway. We're just saying that, for one, and I'm like the way you put it, everyone should be asked the question. Everybody should be willing to cooperate, because if you're
Absolutely.
innocent, I don't see why you would not want to be able to be engaged in this conversation or even engage the police. Say we want to have justice. But I think the callers are quite concerned about the gag order being put on the 14-year-old cousin who was present. Why, I don't know. If that's the case, maybe it should be quite concerning. We have some other callers that keep calling. Okay, let's see. Just low. If you're calling, just ensure you lower your monitor. If you're listening on any other device, we don't want to have a feedback. Go right ahead.
Shalom, Apostle.
Shalom.
Good evening, Miss Carlotta. I have two questions. One, Miss Carlotta, do you have an investigative team? And the second question, are you willing to come to Guyana and investigate this matter on behalf of the family so the family can get some kind of justice? That's my two questions.
Thank you. Do you have a team and are you willing to come to Guyana? Boston, keep calling.
Okay, so let me answer that question. One, it would be some high stakes if I were to come because of safety, of course, being the number one thing, with all of the corruption and the evilness. Just to share with you, because I completed it. Before I came on this broadcast today, I just completed a 3-day water only fast. This is not something that is easy to do because there's a lot of evil and things going on with this case. But for the cause, absolutely. And I have put together teams before, and I'm definitely sure that could happen. But I am open to wherever God leads me in this case, because once again, Nigel, as I shared with you, I had a dream about this incident
Yes.
in 2023.
Thank you so much. Sorry, caller, we missed you. Keep dialing. I'll answer as the opportunity arises. So Sherwin is calling. Go ahead. Welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Yes, you are.
Good night. I would like to ask you to welcome.
You have to turn
Okay, I would like to
turn
ask
the
you
other phone down, please.
two questions.
If you're listening on another phone, you have to turn it down. It'll cause a lot of feedback.
Okay.
Or TV or whatever it is.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
If
Good.
she decide to come to Guyana, do you think the government is going to work with you, knowing how corrupt they are? And number two, the problem start. I keep blaming, no matter how you put this case in every angle, I'm still blaming it from the top. This reason is the president, right down to his inspectors and officers, because the system is so corrupt. We talking on the shows and all these different shows, nothing going to change in our country, because most of the people them in our country with wealth, they get the wealth through corruption. So it's going to be hard to remove a government as this corrupt. Therefore, you're going to start to offend a lot of people in the country. And I don't think your safety, you should even come and do this case because of your safety.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Carlotta, go ahead.
Well, I definitely
Carlos,
appreciate
keep
that because
calling.
I do not want my safety at risk at all, but I also don't want the safety of any other person at risk. I feel like one life is one life too many. And Nigel, if you don't mind, I would like to address the grandmother not allowing the 14-year-old to speak, if I can, real quick.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I said, if that's the case, because I don't know. So I'm hoping somebody can corroborate from the
If that's the
family.
case,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
let me tell you, because I've worked child protection before, I know that you don't want a child to continue repeatedly sharing and telling the story over and over because it can be devastating to a degree. And she did just lose her sister, I do believe, right? But here's
Her
the thing,
cousin. Her
her cousin.
cousin.
It's okay. It's okay to not have her talk to everybody. But when it comes to the right somebody, she needs to be able to talk. So not talking to anybody, do not shut out the truth when it comes to her talking to the right somebody. Now, in the States, we have something called Child Advocacy Center, and these are forensic interviewers. I don't know if y'all have that over there, but they
Yes, we do.
specialize in interviewing children, and they get a statement from the beginning to the very end, and that needs to be done so we can document actually what happened and get all of those questions answered and just keep them for the rollout, but just not allowing her to talk to anybody and block the truth. Now, I don't agree with that one.
Yeah. Well, I hope the family member can confirm whether this is the
If that's
case.
the case, if that's
Because
the
I
case.
saw the grandmother being very, very helpful in reference to even saying that they searched the pool. What has happened is there's now a conflict. The grandmother said that there was a team who was searching the pool. The owners, in reference to that, said Zoom call said only 2 people searched the pool in the shallow side. So he claimed that nobody searched the deep side, but Adrianna popped up over there. It's blurry, as I said, and there's a lot to unpack. Caller, you here? You're live.
Good night, good night, good night, guys.
Good night.
No, I'm wondering, right? To the persons who has nothing to benefit from this child's death, know that her death was not by drowning. It's an open and short case. Everything there speaks volumes. You see it. It's an open and short case. There are nothing to debate. But yet we still here at this point in time debating about if it was and if it was. You know, that's annoying me so much.
I can
This is
understand.
just another case will be go under the rag. Look how much evidence, look how much things has been done, really incited, and every day all happening is another talk show reporting. It's another talk show reporting from it, and nothing is being done.
And I can understand your frustration. Thank you so much. We have some other callers, but I can understand your frustration. And can you care to speak to that, Carlotta, where there is frustration as to when would we get justice? That's essentially what the call is saying.
That is, I am still researching that as far as like the government system there, but I can feel this pain. Like I am in the United States, and I can feel that as heavy as if I was there. It is not right, and it is an injustice not only to Adrianna but to everybody that's witnessing this. It's an injustice to the world. whether you're
Yeah.
in
You're on the
Guyana
phone
or
to me,
not.
please.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Your live jump, just turn the TV down or whatever you're using to listen. Go right ahead. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, good night. I'm calling from Grenada. I have a question for the detective. She spoke about phone data collection. Can geofencing be a part of that situation?
What do you mean when you speak to geofencing?
Geofencing, okay, like it's a software you can use to identify all the cell phones that are in that particular area. You zone it in. That's a new technology that is out. I've seen they use it to solve a case in the US on television.
Okay. Let's hear from the detective. Geofencing, where she's you would have heard.
And she said, say that again.
Geofencing, where they use technology to of course identify where all cell phones are in that area at a particular time. So nobody can say, well, the phone wasn't with them and they hadn't the phone, they didn't make a call. I think that would have helped
Okay.
too. Yeah.
Okay. She's talking about like how it pings off the towers
Correct. Right.
and how
Yes.
it locates your GPS, tells you
Yes.
exactly where you were. Yes. So that goes along with telephone records. So let's say when you subpoena them and you're subpoenaing for all of the pings, all of the locations, it tells you exactly where you were. You can't hide from that. So absolutely, that would be the technology that comes along with subpoenaing,
Right.
getting a
Right.
subpoena for the records. Yes, ma'am. She's correct.
Great. Great. Thank you. So, and I'm happy that the callers are calling and they have such interest. As I said, my phone is just going off. So you're live. Hello. Good night. Greetings.
Good night. My question is to Carlotta. Why would they throw powder chlorine around the pool? What was the reason for that?
You say
Okay,
to it
so
in the pool.
No, they throw it around the pool. He sprinkled powder chlorine around the pool. He didn't put, and maybe when she get up on the surface, it touched her skin. Listen to what he said. When she got on the surface, maybe it touched her face and her skin. That's why it discolored like that.
Wow.
okay, so did anyone see
And
him?
it was him. We confirmed today it was him speaking on the thing.
Okay, did anyone see him sprinkling powder around the pool?
You there?
Yes, I'm listening to her.
Okay, so she's asking if anyone saw the bartender sprinkling powder, because the family they all night, people were there all night. Did they see this bartender coming
Yes.
at 8 o'clock sprinkling chlorine powder?
And it wasn't 8 o'clock because the bar didn't close at 8 o'clock. It was after 12 o'clock. He sprinkled whatever he sprinkled.
So he
Because
was
people was in the pool until 12 o'clock the night.
Wow.
okay. Well, if
So
he was,
this man is a notorious lie. He just keep changing his story. But if you get all the videos, you're gonna see people were swimming, all kind of thing happen. And it's still when the father asks the question, you guys are not gonna lock this man up. First they said empty the water out of the pool, and they said if the empty the water have to pay $100,000 to pull it back. But as soon they pull the body out, they empty the water.
Thank you.
Lock him up. They're gonna have to run. They're gonna have to go and drive the minibus like him. All of that is on video.
Yeah, well,
all of that is on
yeah,
video.
thank you. Let's take some other calls. Thank you so much. Do you want to speak to that, Carlotta? Thank you. Thank you so much.
okay, and I just want to make sure I heard her correctly. She's saying that he was seen, and there are witnesses of him sprinkling chlorine powder around the pool.
Yeah, this bartender. Yes, not the owner.
Bartender.
The bartender, yeah.
Okay, well, by this time, they already had conspired for her to be found in the pool. And her body had not been seen in the pool at this time, but he's out there sprinkling chlorine. So it's like you're trying to, in my opinion, he could be trying, they're probably trying to put the story together. So that is consistent with trying to say that that's why she had those markings. It would take a little bit more digging and a little bit more information to get that,
Yeah.
and then to get actual real witness statements about that as well.
Yeah, because we do need, you would need the witness statements. And
Definitely.
the argument to say that when she was put on the deck, maybe the chlorine discolored her hand, not so, because she was taken out of the water with her hand discolored. So
Absolutely.
there's a caller here. Welcome. Go ahead. Good night.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, good evening, Mr. London, and good evening to the woman on your show. I'm
Yes.
just calling, try to make 2 points. Number one, in Guyana, I'm a Guyanese, right? I'm living in the US. Our justice system is trash. The entire police force is completely corrupt. Number 2 point I'm trying to make, they have enough evidence on video to prosecute people in this case. They don't need no forensic and no other shit. They have enough evidence. The guy that burned the building, it's clear on video. Why no one got arrested in this case? So it's everything, all the corruption starts from the top, way down to the bottom. The family, I'm telling you this from credible sources. The owner for the hotel have close family in the PPP government. And that is with evidence.
Okay.
So it's a hard case if the people try to fight to get justice for Adrianna. They know a lot of shit will come out that they don't want to be out there. So they will never work on this. And if we have one person in Guyana police force like the guest you have on your show, it would be a great change to the justice system in Guyana. Trust me, I'm telling you that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the call. We appreciate it. Can you speak to that?
Yes. Like I said, I understand the hurt and I understand the pain. But one thing that I believe, one thing I'm glad about, it's one factor that we don't want to leave out this case, and that is, but God. Okay, so I know that I was received and brought into this some kind of way, and as bad as it looks, prayer still works. I'm telling you, the more that we can get together and pray and continue to push forward and continue to demand that justice be served in this case. If we continue the case, no matter how long it takes, something is going to have to shake.
Yeah, something must. And just in reference to the caller who said that people are swimming there until 12, we have a video, and that's why evidence is so important. There's a video where this guy, the one who walked by the pool, to say, well, you see the water is clear. That was at 10:50, I think it was. That's timestamp. So we need to have witness statements to say, well, at this time, and that's what you're saying. Where are those statements? Where are those persons who are coming forward? And maybe we have to try this in the open court, in public space. Where people say, I was there and I saw this, and stop being afraid. I am under threat in many cases. It doesn't bother me. I really don't care. Because for me, as a father, I would not be quiet, knowing that this could have been my child. And I see Adrianna as my child, which is why I do what I do. And I've said it with all of my heart. I have not had 3 or 4 hours of sleep since that day, the 23rd of April. It bothers me that much. And with each person, it gets me even more and more upset. So we have a call on the line. YG. Greetings to you. You are on speaker and we can hear you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good job. Great job.
Thank you.
Yes. Great job, Mr. Nigel. Okay? And great job to your detective also. This detective knows exactly what she's talking about, and she knows exactly what she's doing. She is not like that Canadian detective that they brought in. Okay?
Yes.
Now, my question to her is, I just heard someone call and ask if she had an investigative team that she would take with her to Guyana to investigate what's going on, right? And we were talking about safety based on what's going on in Guyana. Mr. London,
Yes.
if you gotta assemble a security team for this Miss Carlotta while she is in Guyana, please do so. Because I have been following this case. I live in the US.
Okay.
I am not from Guyana. I am from Trinidad.
Okay.
But I've been living in the US for 45 years. And just like you said just now, that you haven't slept, I have not slept neither, because I am in tune to every piece of news that is going on in Guyana ever since then. And Mr. Sir Brian Young, Miss Amicia, the aunt Amika, they need justice.
Yes.
Please, sir, they need justice. And I am so happy that you got in touch with this detective, because this lady knows everything. She understands everything that is going on from A to Z.
Thank you so much. But I'm grateful.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate the call and also the concern.
Great job, brother.
I'm most
Great
grateful.
job.
Thank you. And you do well. Thank you. So there's the call for you to be in Ghana to conduct an investigation. What I can do is I can promise, hopefully you can commit to it, should Yahweh allow us to live, that should there be, and when there is a change in administration, the country is governed by different people. There would be an intense investigation launched, and you would likely be called to be one of those who would be a part of that team to ensure that we have answers. Even if you're here as a consultant, to say,
Right.
okay, then no, we don't buy that. Nope. And you can ask certain questions in that kind of environment, maybe a commission of inquiry of some sort, because there has to be justice served. I don't mind if it takes 10 years.
Exactly.
I'm telling people, I don't care, and I know that I can sense that you have the same passion. We would not forget Adrianna's name, and
Will
those who would
not.
have done this would not be forgotten either, unless they
Absolutely.
die. And even posthumously, we will render you guilty if you did anything. So
Right.
thank you. There's a call on the line. Carl, welcome to you, brother.
Hi. Shalom, Apostle. This is Mr. Carter. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Good night, Detective. Pleasant evening to you. First question I'd like to ask, do you have access to a digital forensic team? Because there's a lot of evidence, digital evidence floating around out there. The videos, all the photos. So definitely a digital forensic team can sweep the web and pick up all the footage or whatever is out there and put it together. So even before you even think about going to Guyana, that can be compiled. Secondly, as the lady was saying from the islands, yes, all cell phones need to be pinged to know what was emanating from the hotel during the incident, prior to the incident, and after the incident. That information, that metadata needs to be gotten. Now, I know up here, the cell phone companies are required by law to keep that information for so much time.
Yes.
I don't know what's the laws in Guyana. Right? We have two major cell phone companies. I don't know what the law is, but that needs to be checked into. So we can all speak, that case can be built from that. So you have the cell phone information, you have the digital information. Secondly, we noticed that the sheet has disappeared. Where is it?
Yeah, that was in the pool.
Did it come from the hotel? Where did it disappear? But even prior to that, and everybody's talking, let us ask ourselves some simple questions. Why was the police at the hotel the night of the incident? Give the order, and what was the order? Were they there to protect the hotel owner, or were they there to search for Adrianna?
Adrianna, thank you.
And either one they answer, it goes down the rabbit hole. Oh, why are you there to protect him? Or okay, you went to search for her. Did you search? What was the result of that search?
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carl. We appreciate the questions. The phones are ringing off the hook. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're on air. Welcome, you're live.
Hello, good night.
Good night. We can hear you.
Okay. I would like to speak on the way how.
Okay, we lost that call. Yes, so someone is speaking to digital, that forensic. Of course, we got that. What can you say about that? Or would you like to speak to that?
Well,
Regardless, I think you were doing that to some
right,
extent.
right, absolutely, and also I have several contacts, and that would be a question and more of a off the air conversation, but definitely
Understood.
I have
Yeah,
all
because that's
types
highly
of
sensitive. Yeah. So
ideas.
I hope that helps the callers to know that, and I feel what you're saying here, because you're able to gather so much in the social media space, and videos tell so much. Um, you cannot take yourself out of one that easily. And they're moving around so rapidly around the world in reference to this situation.
Right.
But I must say that at this time, Carlotta, I don't know if you're open for part three. We're having calls that are coming in. We would
We,
stay on this for as long as we have to.
I am
Um,
open for as many
I
parts as
know,
it takes.
I know. But as I said, I have to travel. I've been having a very long day. I did a 5-hour broadcast with some people here in Guyana. Then I came straight home right here before you right now. And then I have to, of course, be on another mission. But I really appreciate your involvement. And please speak to us in reference to your thoughts as we close. What do you have to say about what you've heard tonight? Are you encouraged by the interest shown by the wider population
Yes,
and those in
like
diaspora?
I feel so connected. I'm gonna have to do a DNA check to make sure I don't have no Guyanese in me. You
You
know what
may
I'm
be.
saying?
we,
Just
we came on we came on the same boat, but just landed in different countries. So who knows?
okay. Exactly. But my heart goes out to you all. I love you all. And I like this is divine intervention. We are all here for a reason. And thank you all for the love and the support. Um, let's just stay the course. Let's see this thing all the way through. That's that's
Yeah.
that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
Have a
Just
good night.
oh, you're
This is
calling again?
Solange.
Okay, just turn your,
I'm calling from America.
if you listen to if you have anything in the background, turn it down for me so we can hear you clearly. Just one more caller. She called and got cut off. Let's be
Okay.
fair to her. Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to speak on how they pulled out the body out of the pool with clear marks of torture on her, even blood coming out her nose. And within the 22 hours, her body was not shown any bloating, meaning that she did not drown in that pool within the 22 hours. Honestly, the guy in the child protective system and the police force is corrupted and it needs to be fixed.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you seem to be having
Good night.
thank you so much. And what a way to end. I'm
What a
thinking
way
with
to
let's
end.
take that call, huh?
Absolutely.
We have to fix the police force, and we need investigators of your caliber, probably to come, because they tried it before. Say they're bringing people from overseas to train the policemen and to do certain things, and here we are. But I appreciate the fact that you have got more than just the interest of the case in mind. You've got a conviction that's divine, and that cannot be lost, because when you have that divine connection to matter, nothing discourages easily, if anything at all.
Right.
And thank you for being on this assignment, Carlotta. Um, on behalf of those Guyanese with an interest in this matter, and those who are what I call fair-minded, right-minded, thank you, and beyond thank you for doing what you do so deeply rooted in your conviction and standing here with us and on the side of justice. You would not be forgotten like Adrianna, because you've popped on the scene and have done so much. Can they see? Thank you for making this connection. I could not have done this without you. And I thank you for saying that there was somebody all the way in the USA who had an interest in this matter, who was willing to step forward and do what is being done now. You've helped us tremendously. And I cannot thank you enough. So please do well. And as you said, we would like to do this again, because this would not go down like that. Should new information pop up, or should you have something that's new that's coming your way, I know what you and I know what would be done. So we're here. Okay? Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Rest well. Viewers, we could not do this without you. And tonight, I must say that we've had a discussion that lasted for so long, and you were quite respectful. You did very well. So thanks a lot. Until we meet again. Be safe.